Okay, now we'll get to the energetics inside in a moment, but excuse me, let's continue looking at the structure, and then we'll look at some of these other like the dantian and how the energy in the dantian is moving and that kind of thing. Okay. So next, let's look at the spine. Of course, the spine comes out of the hips. Now, the spine wants to always be erect. We never let it bend side to side, and we never let it lose its integrity. Even if I wanted to bend over, the spine lengthens as opposed to the spine shortening. We wouldn't roll the spine. Here, the whole spine moves together. And there's very few bend over movements in Tai Chi, just a couple of movements. The rest of the time, we're completely upright. And it's for many, many, many good reasons. A, it looks better. Good for your posture. It's more relaxing. Any deviation from nice and straight is going to cause tension. If there's any bend in the body, certain muscles that tend to try to hold the body in balance will be working, and we want to eliminate that as much as possible. We want to be balanced as much as possible. When we're balanced, the gravity can take over and we can relax. So do try at all times to keep your body upright, the head upright. Don't let the head drop, don't let the head bend. Keep the head and spine all as one nice unit. Okay. Now, the torso, we have, if we were to we'd look at the legs and hips as pretty much one unit. They are always going to be moving together. But the waist is a separation point between the upper body and the lower body. So while the lower body, we call this sometimes the horse and rider, the lower body can be going straight. The upper body can be turning. And this is accomplished by having a waist. So in Tai Chi, movement occurs because of the mind. The mind directs the movement. The mind decides what it wants to do, and the body then follows. So the first thing in any movement, the first thing that moves is the mind. Then it mobilizes the legs then move to the hip moves to the torso, and it finally moves out into the expression of the movement. So the mind, is very important that the mind be in control, be upright, be clear. It's sort of like the control tower at the airport. You want to be able to see everything. You don't want to be down, hidden in the ground someplace. You want to have it upright. So we have this nice straight spine to hold up the head and intention. Now in every movement, we have the three basic points for the body. Now when I step ahead, as I said, we have the knee goes in the direction of the toe. Here and here. We also have what's called the nose points to the knee. There's three positions for the nose in relation to the toes. The nose will either face the front knee, it will face the back knee, or sometimes it will face in the middle of the two legs, depending upon the transition or the movement. Only those. The nose will never go outside of the toe. If it goes outside of the toe, there's a loss of balance in either direction. So the nose will never go further than the toe, and sometimes it will be in the middle depending upon the application. Okay? The torso and nose go together. So I don't even have to think about my torso. If I know my nose and torso are going together, if I'm moving forward, I know my nose is going here, the torso goes with it. If I know my nose is going here, the torso is going with it. The torso and nose go together. So now look. For instance, in the first movement, ward off left, the toe starts out first. Then, as I shift the weight, I'm turning my nose, intention, to look towards this toe. The torso goes with it. We then step ahead. I then am going to come back to the other toe-nose relationship, so the torso goes with it. Okay. In the next movement, right push upward, here's a point, one of the ones where the nose will be halfway at some point. As I turn, at this point, I'm halfway open to my new final direction. My nose is now facing halfway as I step. Then it continues on to face to this knee, and then it faces this knee, and it faces this knee, and it faces the front knee, and faces the front knee. Okay, so generally it's during the transitions where the nose will face halfway for balance. Okay, so shall we do a quick review so far of the things that we've covered so that you don't forget them. And now that's why we practice Tai Chi so slowly. We practice and practice and practice so that each one of these elements we can master, and then it'll become natural. We can look at the next piece, work on that until it's natural, and then at some point you don't have to think about all this stuff. It's just too overwhelming. You couldn't. It'll be natural, and your Tai Chi will be really good. So, the things that we've looked at, that the knees always go in the direction of the toes, the relationship of the feet, the back foot is a 45-degree angle to the front foot. When we shift the weight onto the foot, first we gather to the inside, and as we move forward, we press from the outside. That is accomplished by this kind of a feeling of screwing the energy. Gather to the inside, releasing from the outside. The knees always go in the direction of the toes. The hips are on a horizontal plane, opening and closing. And the pelvis is slightly tucking under and forward. It's a rotating under and back. The top of the head is always stationary and lifting. The spine is erect. The nose will face to one knee or to the other knee, and the torso and nose move together. Okay, so each one of these has a yin and yang quality, with forward would be yang, and back would be yin, and gathering would be yin, and dispersing would be yang. So we're always working with these opposites.